is basically trying to save his dad with Poseidon's trident, which she knows how to find. But basically after that, Karina goes off on her own. Henry is promptly arrested for treason because of how his jacket is, of course. And Jack basically makes it back to the beach with the rest of the pirates. No treasure, of course. He steals like the last little coin that's left in there. And basically they leave him, and that's that. Then we get back to Karina and Henry Turner. She basically calls him crazy for believing in Salazar the Ghost, and wants to know how he knew about all this. And, you know, constant dialogue. They want to know what's about each other. And she basically gives him a lockpick to escape from. She's captured, you know, for being a witch, and then Henry Turner escapes. Frankly, I'm kind of at a miss at what happens next. I think, on the general basis, I know. Basically, Jack gets arrested. Karina is basically set to be hung, and there's a whole funny scene. I gotta hang it up in literally a minute because I gotta delete some videos and make some room. But basically, they're about to be hung, and you know, there's funny jokes dialogue between Karina and Jack, who he's about to have the guillotine because he chose that because it's French and all that. Basically, she's calling him, "Kill the dirty pirate, I can wait." She's trying to profess that she's innocent of being a witch and all that. But frankly, guys, 1 second. Alrighty, got another 30 minutes to go. Well, try not to take that long. But basically, going over some pretty funny jokes, I can't really remember quite right now. But basically, as the guillotine goes down, Mr. Gibbs and the other pirates save him by shooting, and he gets lucky, and he, you know, very close-ups of the guillotine almost getting him and all that. Basically, a lot of fighting between the British and the pirates, and it's a pretty cool little fight scene. And then you get to Karina. Basically, Will Turner comes in. Before that, I forgot to mention, swings around her and falls and starts fighting some English soldiers, basically, and he accomplishes nothing. Karina's left up there, and Scrum actually gets up there and ensues a fight. She knocks down the executioner, and basically, Scrum has a kind of actually pretty cool little fight scene between him and a British officer. And all of a sudden, the lever goes down for her to be hung, where Henry is there to basically catch her. Even though there's basically a whole joke of her grabbing her. Even I don't know the terms of ships right now, so basically, basically that joke, he's holding on to her, and, you know, basically leads on to that. Nothing much happens here except some really good action. I won't go into too much detail right now, but basically, they're brought back to Jack's ship, and they're tied up for some odd reason. Even though Henry paid them to come back for Jack, because he needs Jack. I forgot to mention, there is a scene before that where he meets Jack in the dungeon, and all that, and there's some funny stuff like this. This is what I've spent all these years looking for, a drunk, the great Captain Jack Sparrow. I tried to say about Jack. But anyway, it's kind of that whole thing. It's kind of funny. But back to this. Basically, Jack tricks Karina into telling them about the map by pretending to throw Henry overboard. Actually, that may have been when they got out to sea. Yeah, it probably was. And they basically got to see all that on a ship called the Dying Gull. A crappy little ship. They got out to sea. Basically, in between all this time, I don't want to get into this later, but apparently Jack traded the compass for a bottle of rum. And that's how that all happens. Or how Salazar is released, because he betrayed the compass, even though we get no explanation as to how Salazar knew about the compass, because it belonged to another pirate, the pirate that was on the ship before Jack, as you see in the origin story of him, which I'll get to in a little bit. But basically, through time, I guess, they run into Salazar the first time. Oh my gosh, I'm getting really tired now, guys. I gotta think real quick. Apology, guys. So basically, we'll go on with Barbossa. I think this is the part where we meet Barbossa again. And basically, he's one of the richest pirates on the seas right now. He owns like 10 ships, and his ship is just lavished in gold and treasure. And he himself is like a really weird monarch, frankly, with his getup. Even though he eats with a tiny fork and all that, I guess, just to show off him being rich. You know, I really wish they would have taken another approach with him and make him, you know, don a little more like his traditional pirate's outfit, like in the other movies, Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest at the end, and at World's End. Really wish they would have gone with that, or even at the end of Stranger Tides, instead of how they portrayed him in this movie, with the outfit wise. But basically, he gets word about Salazar and all that, what's happening, and he doesn't believe it at first because he knew that Salazar was dead. He goes to another witch. Frankly, don't even know who her character is, really. But she basically tells him that Jack betrayed the compass, and now the dead are taking over the seas. And Salazar, trying to cover his assets, rather than fleeing to land to protect himself and his wealth, he decides he's going to fight to stay, you know, keep his ships and everything. And that's where he basically goes out to interrogate Barbossa. And basically he meets up with Barbossa later on, or Barbossa meets up with Salazar later on, and as the ship is rising about to eat Blackbeard, or Barbossa's ship, which I believe is the Queen Anne's Revenge, even though we get nothing like resulting from Blackbeard's magic or anything. He knows how to use it and all that, but you get nothing like, no cool battle between the ships, even though we both know they're supernatural. Like none of the roaring fire, none of the magical ropes or anything like that, the magical mast, but none of that. Basically, they just surrender to Salazar. He basically says, I know you're looking for Jack Sparrow. All of a sudden, the Ghost Pirates come down, and then Salazar, and there's a funny scene where one of the crew tries to kill a ghost, and it goes right through him and kills another guy. But basically, Barbossa goes into his casual butt-kissing self, I'll just say, because I don't have another word for it right now. I heard stories of a mighty Spanish captain and all that, and you need me, that I will find him and bring him to you, or I will find him for you. In return, you leave me and my ships alone. And basically, Salazar is really creative in the scene. He basically goes, every time I tap this staff, another member of your crew dies. And basically, it's tapping throughout the moment you hear the people dying. And by the time, you know, he finally makes the accord, as they say, he goes, dun 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 dun. You will take the last of your crew. It is a pretty cool scene. Basically, after that, Jack and everyone basically wound up in almost to this island called Hangman's Cove. You find out, and basically, there's really not much other than some dialogue at night. Basically, Jack explaining to Henry what a woman likes, and there's some funny jokes in there as well. Basically, it goes into... And there's also dialogue between Henry and Karina about, you know, whether this all mythology is real and all that, you know, and their whole goals with their fathers. Basically, it goes to morning, and Barbossa is basically at the end of his line nearly, and Salazar's fed up with it. And Salazar, basically goes on about how he met Jack Sparrow. Basically, he was one of the best pirateers or pirate killers on the seas. His grandfather and his father were killed by pirates, and he made that his mission to kill pirates. He was one of the best, and basically the last fleets of pirates had come up against him, and he eliminated them all, except for one ship, which the captain was dead, and a young Jack Sparrow took the mantle from the captain. And basically, it's kind of funny, this whole scene's got Johnny Depp's voice, but just younger Jack being, you know, a little turd on the ship. trying to get his attention and all that for his plan. And he gets the compass and all that. And basically, Salazar, seeing this as a mockery, he had already allowed his crew to go ahead and kill the pirates, even though they're asking for mercy. Basically, he chomps on an apple and says, in order to kill him. Basically, it's flipping back and forth between past and present as he's explaining it. There was this boy up in the sparrow's nest, and that's how he got his name. He's up in the crow's nest, something like that. I forget what the term is for, the little cubby at the top of a mast where, the scout is. I forget the term for that. But basically, that's how he got his name, because he looked like a little sparrow up there. A boy. Basically, he mocks Salazar enough. If you leave us alone, I will let you live. And apparently this is just enough of a mockery to make Salazar chase them into the Devil's Triangle. But before they even get in there, Jack is able to, turn the ship around. Like Battleship style. Have you ever seen the movie Battleship? That kind of style. And then Salazar, having nowhere to turn, basically goes in and the ship wrecks inside the Devil's Triangle. And basically the whole crew die, except then they become, the ship and them become cursed, filled with rage, and they live. And since then, they've been in the cove until they've been unleashed. And basically, by this time, as Salazar's about to kill Barbossa, they find the Dying Gull, the ship with Jack and all of them. And they basically let them live. And it goes straight to, Dying Gull, and they're contemplating what to do because they see the ship in the distance. So they take off in a dinghy mutiny, basically. And basically Karina says, screw this, and swims off. And you got the whole funny joke scene in the teasers and all that. I saw ankles. You would have seen a lot more if you kept your pie hole shut. That whole joke. But basically, the pirate, Salazar and his crew come up. And they release ghost sharks into the water. And this is probably one of the cool scenes in the movie, when the ghost sharks attack them and all that. So it was really cool. And you got the Salazar and his crew, they jump out and they start chasing them. They're running on top of the water. And, it gets to a point where they latch onto one of the sharks and it throws them onto the beach. And of course, Salazar and his crew, they cannot touch land, otherwise they dissipate. And basically they get to land and Jack mocks them again, but Salazar basically says, you can't stay there forever, you will eventually have to come out to sea. And basically Jack goes in, and but we'll cut back to Barbossa for a second. Basically Salazar comes back to the boat and is ready to kill Barbossa, but he says, well, hey, we will get them off the island for you much faster if you let us live. And basically Salazar at this point is just really ticked off and reluctantly agrees to the accord because he just wants Jack Sparrow dead. Now you go back to Hangman's Cove, as it's called. Basically, Jack runs into where Karina gets trapped, they get trapped, Henry and Jack get trapped, and then basically they meet Jack's old mate, apparently, who's been there for a long time, has his crew and his sister, whose husband just died, and basically, as revenge, he's going to have Jack married off to his sister, who is basically a man who is sniffling and snarfing, and Jack makes the joke of having scabies. Basically, she just replies that, yes, she has scabies too, so... And it's just basically funny throughout this whole scene. However, I was hoping that, Jack would go like, man, if this is my only choice, like, just drop and just start trying to hang himself. I thought that would have been like the most hilarious joke they could have pulled off, but no, and that doesn't happen. Basically, he's about they bring out the kids and all this. It's just a funny scene. And basically Barbossa comes up and disrupts the whole thing. Jack brings up the point as, to bring me a wedding present? And Barbossa basically shoots his mate, the guy who's trying to marry him off. Basically shoots him, kills him, and everyone disbands. Basically, Barbossa's like, I don't like you, I meant to take him to you, but no one's going to threaten me. I'm going to kill the dead, and I'm going to take back everything they've taken from me. Blackmail, basically. Enemy and my enemy is my friend. And basically, there's only one ship that can escape Salazar's ship. I can't remember the name of Salazar's ship. Basically, it's the Black Pearl, and of course the Black Pearl is in the bottle in Jack's jacket. You know, I wonder what happened to the other ships. The whole fleet, apparently, that he had taken from Blackbeard's cabinet. That was never explained this either. There's a lot of kind of plot holes in here at some points. Basically, it looks like Barbossa stabbing him. He's just stabbing the bottle, breaking it. The bottle all of a sudden starts breaking, and the Black Pearl is growing, and it kind of stops growing. You think, you know, the camera pans out, making it look like it's big, but it's not. Basically, Barbossa says she needs to see, and they toss the Black Pearl into the ocean, where after a few seconds, triumphant music comes on, and the Black Pearl comes back to original glory. They all board it and sail off for this island. Basically cutting through, you know, some parts they escape Salazar's grip. And at this night scene, which is a longer scene, we discover Karina. Basically, Barbossa lets her command the ship to follow the stars. And they go over the whole... Barbossa and Karina go over this dialogue of her father must have been brilliant to have known about all these stars and stuff, and she's actually surprised that Barbossa knows about the stars and what would be her name, Karina. Only to find out, and I kind of got the feeling of this as he was walking away, like, are they really, is this the plot of this part? Is this the plot? And you know, you see it on Jack's face, which is like, yeah, this is gonna happen. And basically, Jack goes, well, aren't you gonna tell her? I can't wait to tell her. And Barbossa's like, we take this to our graves. And basically go on about a woman named Margaret that he was with, and that he never thought that she would discover this, and that he had left her the journal with the ruby, thinking it would give her a life, and never thought it would give her her own journey. But basically, Karina's Barbossa's daughter. Frankly, it was a bit of kind of a surprise at this point, and it's something that you always kind of thought about in the old, and I always thought about watching the other movies, like, what if Barbossa had a kid? But basically, they say it goes off about how he was nothing but a worthless pirateer back then with no spine, and he left her at the orphanage after Margaret died. And basically, it cuts from there to the British, who are about to try and take hold of the Black Pearl. You know, throughout this whole movie, they interrogated the witch, saying all that. You know, it's just the same douchebag British throughout the whole movie. Before Salazar's ship comes up from behind them, and basically the ship eats them. And basically, the whole point of this through Dawn is them trying to escape. And there's a whole, you know, back and forth fight between them, you know, all that, Karina, and basically fast forward, the Black Pearl makes it to land. Salazar's ship's got to turn away, but they actually take Henry Turner hostage before, you know, they can make everyone safe like that. But basically, their only hope is to find the Poseidon's Trident and to destroy Salazar. So they're on this island full of treasure and all that, trying to find the map. And basically, it's this line of rubies, and she, of course, has the piece. The ruby piece that if you connect, you know, Barbossa basically explains this to her. Maybe if you complete all of the pieces. And do that, and it basically opens up, makes a crack in the ocean. And basically get down there. And we will, okay, we'll finish this first. Basically, they're going through there, and they find the trident. Well, before they can grab the trident, Fash backpedal a little bit to Salazar. Basically, Salazar sees his only chance is to possess Henry Turner in order to get Jack, and he does that, even though he would die if Henry Turner died. Basically, they're down there, and possessed Henry Turner attacks Jack. You know, there's a whole brawling out there. Karina, as she's trying to get Poseidon's Trident, dislodges it before Henry Turner takes it away, and all of a sudden, Henry Turner is... Why do I keep on wanting to say Timmy Turner through all this? Basically, is discarded, and now Salazar is a physical being now. And he basically allows all of his other men to come in to watch as he makes Jack suffer, controlling him through the water, making him hit a bunch of obstacles and all that, while Henry and Karina, let me write that down really quick before I forget. There we go. Basically, discover that if they want to destroy all the curses, then they're going to have to destroy Poseidon's trident. And basically, through all this, they do that. They break the trident. And all of a sudden, Salazar's crew become mortal, and they just start gushing in. And basically, at this point, as all the curses are undone, the water starts caving around them, and everyone starts trying to escape. Barbossa and the Black Pearl basically come around with the anchor for Jack and Karina and Henry to jump on. And Salazar's crew are basically just trying to survive. Salazar's running through, and he's able to get onto the bottom of the anchor while the rest of them basically die. And as it rises up, basically, and they're just trying to hang on for dear life. And Salazar is coming up, and Karina accidentally rips down Barbossa's sleeve, revealing the star pattern, and she realizes Barbossa's her dad, and she asks him, what am I to you? And Barbossa replies, treasure. Before seeing Salazar slowly climbing up the anchor, Barbossa basically, and this is one of the saddest moments for me, because I'm losing my favorite character, but frankly, I'll explain that in another future video. All of the future, theories and all that will be in one video. After credits, plot holes, this with Barbossa. Basically, Barbossa, I'll just say this, sacrifices himself and kills Salazar. And as he basically falls down into the ocean before being crushed, sacrificing himself for Karina, Salazar, mortal again, falls before hitting the bottom of the anchor, just a boom. Everyone goes, "Oh!" in the theater, because, this is like a physical reaction you react to before he's dead and he falls back into the sea. And basically they lift up into the Black Pearl, and frankly I don't really remember much after what happens after this. Basically it cuts to the ending where Henry and Karina are there waiting. There's some jokes going around about ghosts and all that. And they're waiting to see if Will Turner will return. And all of a sudden they see the Flying Dutchman come up. And as Henry's looking through the binoculars, all you see is Will Turner walk up the hill. They basically hug, and they say that, it's just a long story, replying to Will's question of, how did you break the curse? Only for them to look on, and running over the hill is Elizabeth Turner. Basically, they hug it out, they love each other, and they just kind of walk off into the sunset as it goes back to Jack on the Black Pearl, saying, that's the most disgusting sight I've ever seen. Something along those lines, just funny. Basically, it ends like that. Jack is the captain of the Black Pearl again, and Jack is actually Jack the Monkey is there on his shoulder. It's kind of funny there, the reaction, because they've always been kind of like enemies in the movies. And basically it ends with Jack saying, I have a rendezvous with something beyond my horizon. And it basically ends like that. It's just a really good ending all around. So I'll basically get on to the after credits scene now. And basically it goes to Will Turner and Elizabeth sleeping in bed. All of a sudden you hear something coming up coming into their room, and it's like, I hear the dome, and for some reason I'm like, why does this remind me of Davy Jones? And all of a sudden you see the door open, the silhouette, you see the mask and the tentacles, and you're like, this is Davy Jones, this is holy crap, how did this happen? and all of a sudden, all you see is the claw rising up before Will Turner wakes up. You see it's a nightmare, and he kisses Elizabeth, and you pan under the bed to see a puddle on the floor with barnacles. It makes you think Davy Jones is back. Now, there are theories about this, which I actually believe these theories for a moment, and that'll be in my future video about the theory of Davy Jones coming back and all that. Davy Jones, plot holes, Barbossa's death, and all that, and whether I think they should bring Barbossa back story-wise. Frankly, I believe they should, even though he already has died before, even though it was for a purpose. Frankly, I wouldn't have killed off Barbossa in this movie. Even if, I mean, you could have always explained it if he died somewhere else in the future movies, but in this movie, I really would have had him killed off. I really wouldn't have, because it's just kind of a cliche for this year with movies. I mean, like with Yondu dying, you know, the father figure's dying all of a sudden. It's kind of played out for me. I'm like, man, it would have been really cool if we saw Karina and Barbossa and Henry and, you know, reuniting with Will and Elizabeth Swann coming around. You know, I think that would have been interesting. That would have been cool for me. I think it would have been a better ending, I would think. But basically, that's how I'm putting it. But that'll be a whole other theory video I'll touch on. So basically, we've covered everything. No spoilers. Jokes. Basically, we covered everything. I think the only other thing I have left is the soundtrack. I really enjoyed the music of this movie. Like I said in the non-spoiler review, it was truly the best, I think, of the Pirates movies. The most, you know, pulse-pounding, you know, just perfect all the way around, I would think. I would throw it into this video, but frankly, I don't want to get copyrighted by Disney. But you get what I mean, I'm just really tired right now. But anyway, guys, I think that covers it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Check out Dead Men Tell No Tales. It was a really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It makes me really want to watch the original trilogy right now, or, you know, saga with Black Pearl. Or not Black Pearl, Stranger Tides. Yeah. But I think it does deserve the rating of 8 out of 10. But like I said, it had its flaws and stuff like that, and just plot holes and just different stuff like that I've already explained in this video. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll hope to touch on that. And I gotta try and get some Mummy videos out soon. Same with Transformers, because that'll be out in a few weeks too. And I ignored the Transformers trailer I was in this, but man, I can't wait to see how this Transformers movie goes. I think it's gonna be awesome. But anyway, guys, just thanks for watching. Let's remember to hit that 400 subscriber mark.